Hi, I'm Yelena, and this is Iceland News Review, where we bring you the latest stories from Iceland. Today, we're going to talk about a cheaper way of getting to the airport, the cooling of the lava in the ongoing eruption, and whaling controversy, as well as much more. And we're here at downtown Reykjavik's newest attraction, a Ferris wheel down in the harbor area. So our first story has to do with Kringlan shopping mall, where a fire broke out last Saturday. The fire reportedly broke out from laying of tar paper, which is a process that involves fire. So there's significant smoke and water damage throughout the mall, which was closed for several days, but has now reopened. Some stores will, however, remain closed as they deal with the damages and assess the damages throughout the building. Gallery 17, a clothing retailer, seems to have been most affected by the fire as a part of the roof collapsed right where that store is located. Kringlan is open again, and you can visit the mall's website for more information about what services are available. On June 19th, 109 years ago, women in Iceland finally got the right to vote. It was 1915, and King Christian X of Denmark was also King of Iceland, as Iceland was a Danish colony at the time. So at first, only women 40 years and over had the right to vote, and that was later lowered to the age of 25. Now, to mark this anniversary, Icelanders in Reykjavik gathered here at the grave of Bríet Bjarnhéðinsdóttir, where they laid down a wreath and had a small ceremony in her honor. Bríet was a lifelong women's rights activist. She founded Kvennablaðið, which was the first women's magazine here in Iceland. She was elected to Reykjavik City Council in 1908, later unsuccessfully ran for parliament in 1926, but she was honored in 2010 by the city of Reykjavik with the renaming of Skúlagata Street to Bríetartún in her honor. Tourists traveling to and from Keflavik Airport are often unaware that along with private bus services and taxis, there is a public bus service available that goes to and from the airport. This is because the public bus service was set up with the local municipality in mind and not with international travelers. So upon arrival to Keflavik Airport, travelers will see a kiosk where they can purchase bus tickets on the private bus services costing around 4,000 Icelandic kronur, something like $29. A taxi from the airport to the capital area will cost around 20,000 Icelandic kronur, which is equivalent to about $144. And finally, a public bus will cost 2,280 kronur, which is significantly less than the other private options. However, the public bus service is not coordinated with arrival and departure times of flights as the private services are. So in this sense, it's not always a viable option for travelers arriving to Keflavik Airport. Now, a working group on behalf of the Ministry of Infrastructure is considering whether some changes are required and should be made to transport to and from the airport. But in the meantime, it is worth noting that the public bus from downtown Reykjavik is still an option. Following Minister of Fisheries Bjarkey Olsen Gunnarsdóttir's decision to grant Hvalur hf, Iceland's last remaining whaling company, a license to hunt whales this year, the company's CEO, Kristján Loftsson, has made a number of contentions about the company's ability to participate in the whaling season. And these contentions do not appear to always hold up to scrutiny. So Kristján has stated, for example, that it is unprecedented for the fin whale quota to be lowered between years, that it is normally raised from year to year. So the fin whale quota that's been granted to the company this year is to hunt 128 whales. However, the matter of fin whale quotas is a matter of public record. In the year 2018, the quota was for 161 whales, with 20% of the unused quota from the previous year. In 2022, the base quota for hunting whales was exactly the same. So Christian has also stated that because the license was granted so late, it makes it difficult for the company to engage in fin whale hunting this season. However, last year, former Minister of Fisheries Svandís Svavarsdóttir suspended whaling throughout the summer season. The temporary ban was lifted at the end of August, and the company did hunt 24 whales in September of last year. The eruption on southwest Iceland's Reykjanes Peninsula continues, the 8th eruption since 2021. The Icelandic government has just approved the purchase of around $500 million in Icelandic krona in equipment, something around 3.6 million US dollars, and this equipment is specialized equipment for cooling lava as it advances. Now, the Minister of Finance, Sigurður Ingi Jóhannsson, announced the purchase of the equipment at a government meeting last Tuesday. The price quoted is the maximum amount intended to be spent, and price comparisons are being conducted to ensure that the cost stays within that range. Now, it's been a difficult process trying to ensure that lava does not damage infrastructure in the area. Lava barriers or berms have been built around Svartsengi power plant as well as Grindavík. There was a small breach in these barriers, and they are being heightened even further near the power plant to ensure that it's protected. It provides hot water as well as power to all residents in the area and many businesses, and therefore protecting it has been successful so far and is very crucial. Current Minister of Fisheries, Bjarkey Olsen Gunnarsdóttir, is a member of the left-green movement, one of 3 parties in the currently governing coalition here in the Parliament of Iceland, the Alþingi. The party sent out a newsletter recently where they addressed Bjarkey's recent decision to grant a fin whaling license to whaling company Hvalur HF for this whale hunting season. And the party stated that although the party aims to ban whaling overall, that currently there is not the parliamentary majority required to pass such a law, and that under the current law, Bjarkey was required to grant the whaling license for this season. Now, the party does say that, considering the current law, they will continue to fight for the rights of animals and for the rights of whales as well. Between 2022 and 2023, the number of people in Iceland registered in the National Registry with a 3rd gender marker doubled. So in 2019, the Icelandic Parliament passed a landmark law on the rights of trans people, and part of that law included being able to register not only as M or F, male or female, in the National Registry, but as X, a 3rd gender marker. Now, this X marker has sometimes been incorrectly called the genderless marker, but really it's an option for those who are non-binary trans people and don't feel that they fit neatly into a male or female gender marker. So in 2022, there were 40 people who were registered with this X marker in the National Registry, and in 2023 that number had doubled to 80 people. And finally, a story about a particularly aggressive ram that has been wreaking havoc in Vogar on the Reykjanes Peninsula. So this ram has been terrorizing the residents of the town, but particularly one home where a sort of shelter over the entrance has become a place that the ram likes to hang out and relieve himself. Baldur Gunnarsson, who lives in that home, says he has called police to try to get them to round up the ram, but he continues to return. And Árni Magnússon, who owns the ram, has said he's very sorry about the ram's behavior, and he has tried to get it to stay on a grassy plot away from other residents, but to no avail. Thank you for joining us for this week's news. For more coverage, you can go to our website, icelandreview.com.